Beloved chosen one, heaven has called your name. The sound that ripples through eternity has reached this very moment, and it is your name that vibrates through the corridors of heaven. Everything around you pauses, not by chance, not by algorithm, but by divine orchestration. Listen carefully. This is not a random message. You are not scrolling by accident. Heaven has been searching for your attention because something sacred depends on your response. You were not designed to blend in. You were crafted in divine fire, written into a story that began before your birth. Every breath you take, every heartbeat that carries the whisper of purpose was spoken into existence by a God who saw you before time began. The angels know it. The heavens recognize it. The earth has been waiting for your awakening. There is a tremor in the spirit realm right now. The angels stand still, wings folded, eyes fixed on you. They await one thing, your yes. Your obedience is the signal that unleashes their movement. You do not realize how much power rests in your surrender. One word from your lips can realign atmospheres. One decision can shift generations. The world has told you that your voice is small, that your presence doesn't matter, that your pain has no purpose. But the truth, chosen one, is that your existence is a divine interruption. You carry something this world cannot replicate. An anointing, a fire, a frequency that darkness fears. When you walk into a room, chains start to rattle in the unseen because heaven knows who you are, even when you forget. You are not ordinary. You were never meant to live quietly, buried beneath fear and doubt. The heavens have echoed this message again and again, waiting for the moment your spirit would awaken to what it already knows. You are chosen. The battle for your yes has been raging for years. Every distraction, every delay, every heartbreak was designed to silence that word before it ever left your lips. The enemy fears your agreement with God because that agreement is a divine key. When you finally say yes, the gates of heaven open and divine order begins to unfold across your life. Can you feel it? The air around you has changed. The weight pressing against your chest is not anxiety. It's the glory of purpose pressing to be released. Angels are leaning in closer, waiting to record your obedience in the books of heaven. The Spirit whispers now, this is the moment. You have run, you have questioned, you have doubted, but still heaven waited. Not because you were perfect, but because you were marked. The mark does not fade with failure. It only burns brighter when you return. And now the fire is calling you again. This time not to observe, not to postpone, but to answer. Chosen one, you must understand. Heaven never forgets the ones it calls. There is no mistake in your timing, nay, no error in your journey. The pain, the silence, the seasons that broke you, none of it was wasted. It was shaping the vessel that stands here now. You have reached the edge of divine instruction. All of heaven stands in position, and the command has been given. Await their response. The ancient words still resound across time, calling your spirit to courage. It was proclaimed in the second letter to Timothy, chapter 1, verse 7. For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, of love, and of a sound mind. Lift your head. The moment to rise has come. You are not too late. You have not missed it. This is your re-entry into destiny. The sound of heaven is summoning your yes, not because God needs your ability, but because He desires your availability. And as your heart begins to respond, the unseen world trembles. The angels ready their wings, awaiting the word that will release divine movement. You may not feel worthy, but grace has already gone before you. Every no you once spoke is being rewritten by this one yes. Even now, heaven's light gathers around you, wrapping you in peace that surpasses reason. Your past cannot disqualify what God has ordained. You stand at the threshold of a holy turning, a moment when destiny steps out of eternity and meets you face to face. If this word pierces your spirit, if something inside you says, "This is for me," then do not remain silent. Declare it below. Type 777 as a prophetic sign that you are saying yes to your divine assignment. Let heaven see your agreement and let the angels record your response. Then, like and share this message so the next chosen one can awaken too. And if your spirit bears witness with what's unfolding, subscribe now so you never miss another word heaven sends your way. Heaven is waiting for your yes. The angels are standing by. The scroll of your destiny remains open. Say it now. Before the moment passes, say yes. Before the first sunrise ever touched the mountains, your name was already written in the divine archives. Long before your parents ever dreamed of you, heaven had already breathed purpose into your spirit. You were marked in eternity, sealed with intention, chosen for an assignment only your soul could carry. The light within you was placed there by design, not by coincidence, not by inheritance, but by God Himself. You are not a product of random existence. You are the manifestation of a divine blueprint. Every quirk, every scar, every gift you carry, none of it is accidental. You were designed precisely for what this generation needs. And though you have questioned your worth, heaven has never doubted your calling. The hand that formed the stars also formed you with detail and purpose, knowing exactly what He placed inside you. The angels that witnessed your creation still speak your name in reverence. They remember the moment heaven decided that you would carry a light capable of piercing deep darkness. They remember the sound of joy that filled the heavens when you were assigned to this generation. They know that your existence itself is prophecy fulfilled. But, chosen one, the world has tried to erase that truth from your heart. Life's storms, betrayals, and disappointments have painted false narratives over your identity. The enemy has whispered, "You are forgotten," hoping you would never discover the seal that rests upon your spirit. Yet heaven has never forgotten the day you were called. The Father still sees the original light in you, even when you only see the shadows. There were moments you felt invisible, when your prayers hit silence and your faith felt hollow. You asked, "Why me?" Not out of arrogance, but out of exhaustion. Still, even in your weariness, God was working behind the veil, aligning every event, every delay, every heartbreak into divine preparation. You were not being abandoned. You were being hidden, refined, and prepared for the time you would be revealed. In the unseen, heaven whispered to the earth, "Not yet. They are still being forged." Because the chosen ones are not birthed in comfort, they are refined in fire. Their strength is not shaped in applause, but in solitude. Every tear that fell was counted. Every night you wrestled with doubt was seen. The silence that once felt like punishment was, in truth, sacred training for the magnitude of your mission. You have carried weights that others would have crumbled beneath. You have endured battles no one else even noticed. Yet you survived because destiny sustained you. The same God who called you ensured that your flame would never go out, no matter how violent the storm became. That is why you are still here, because heaven refused to let you be extinguished. And when the world called you broken, heaven called you chosen. When people walked away, angels drew near. When your strength failed, grace took over. That is what it means to be marked before birth. It means you are never alone in your journey, even when loneliness surrounds you. As the prophet wrote in the scroll of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 3, "For the vision is yet for an appointed time. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not delay." Those words were not written for history alone. They echo through time and speak directly to you. Your life is the unfolding of that divine timing. What felt like denial was actually delay, designed to align your steps with heaven's schedule. You have not missed your moment. Your moment has been waiting for your readiness. And now the stirring within you is heaven's signal that the waiting season is ending. The clouds that once hid your purpose are beginning to part, and the first light of fulfillment breaks through. What you lost in delay, God is restoring in acceleration. Do not despise the years that felt empty, for they were sacred soil. The seeds planted in hiddenness are now breaking the surface. You will soon see why you had to wait, because what God was building in you required foundations that time alone could strengthen. Remember, the mark of God is not erased by failure or by time. The call does not expire when you fall, it deepens when you rise again. Every setback has been a setup for the unveiling of what heaven hid inside you. You have been prepared in the shadows for a purpose that can only shine in the light of divine revelation. You are heaven's secret weapon, quietly formed, patiently refined, and now, finally awakening. The mark that rests upon you carries authority, not because of who you are, but because of the one who sent you. Every step you take from this point forward will echo in eternity, because your journey is not about survival anymore. It is about fulfillment. So walk with reverence, chosen one. Walk as one who knows they were chosen before the beginning of time. Every moment, every encounter has been orchestrated. The same voice that called you into existence still whispers through the wind, reminding you that destiny does not forget. You are not behind schedule. You are right on time. The seal remains. The calling endures. The story continues. Every chosen one knows the pain of waiting. The long nights when heaven seems silent, the endless moments where promises feel distant, and hope flickers like a dying flame. Yet what you call waiting, heaven calls weaving. The tapestry of your destiny is not unraveled. It's being carefully threaded by divine hands. The silence has never been absence. It has been alignment. God has not forgotten you. He has been preparing everything around you for the moment you would finally be ready to step into what has always belonged to you. Even the seasons that seemed meaningless were sacred chapters in the story of your transformation. Chosen one, those delays were never punishment. They were proof of your importance. Heaven doesn't rush what it values. When gold is refined, it must face the fire. When diamonds are formed, they must endure pressure. Likewise, your waiting season was not about denial. It was divine preparation. You cried in secret, wondering if heaven still remembered your name. You looked around, saw others advancing while you stood still. Yet, what you didn't realize is that God was protecting you from platforms that could not carry your weight. You were being hidden, not forgotten. Your roots had to go deep before your branches could spread wide. Every disappointment, every closed door, every not yet was a part of the orchestration. The one who called you knew that destiny delayed is not destiny denied. The stillness was sacred. It built your resilience, your discernment, your faith. The silence taught you to hear heaven in whispers instead of noise. There's a power in the waiting that few understand. When the world moves fast, God moves deep. While others were rushing ahead, heaven was cultivating endurance in you. It was teaching you how to walk by faith, not by sight, how to trust when nothing made sense. The apostle reminds us in his letter to the Romans, chapter 8, verse 28, "And we know that all things work together for good to them that love God, to them who are the called according to his purpose." This means that even the mistakes you regret are not wasted. Every misstep was repurposed into wisdom. Every heartbreak made room for compassion. Every battle taught you spiritual authority. What the enemy meant for harm became the very tool God used to shape your calling. Look back now and see the evidence. You survived what was meant to destroy you. You grew stronger where you once broke. You became more discerning, more grounded, more aware of the divine hand guiding your path. That's not coincidence. That's construction. Heaven has been building something unshakable within you. And here's what you must understand. Waiting does not weaken a promise. It strengthens it. When you finally step into your appointed moment, you'll realize why God made you wait. The weight of the blessing requires the strength of the one who carries it. Heaven was not trying to slow you down. It was ensuring that when your time came, nothing could take it from you. The pressure you've endured was proof of potential. God only refines what He intends to reveal. The reason it hurts so much is because what's inside you is greater than what's behind you. That's why the battle felt personal, because it was. Hell has always attacked what heaven has anointed. But the waiting is ending. The spiritual tide is shifting. The time you thought was lost is about to be redeemed. The same God who hid you in the shadows is now calling you into the light. You are stepping into visibility, not for fame or attention, but for function. Because the world needs what's inside of you. And when this happens, remember, you didn't earn this moment by striving. You reached it by surviving. Every scar tells heaven's story through you. Every lesson becomes a weapon in your hands. Every prayer whispered in the dark becomes a testimony in the light. You have learned to stand when you wanted to surrender. You have learned to trust when you couldn't trace His plan. That's what makes you unstoppable now. You are not who you were. You are who heaven has been waiting for. Take a breath, chosen one. The process has not been wasted. The pain has not been pointless. You have been positioned for such a time as this. Heaven's clock has struck your hour, and the angels have already been dispatched to guide your next step. Now, before you move on, do one thing. Let your spirit affirm what your heart already knows. Type, "I am ready," in the comments below. Do it as a prophetic act, a declaration that you accept the divine timing of your calling. Because when you speak it, heaven records it. When you write it, faith activates it. Your waiting has not been in vain. Your delay has not been denial. You were being refined, not restrained. The appointed time has arrived. Heaven says, move forward. There comes a moment when heaven tests what it has built inside of you. After the waiting, after the refining, after the silence, God allows the pressure of decision to return. It is here, chosen one, that the true strength of your spirit is revealed. This is the battleground for your yes. You have already felt the whispers of opposition, the inner war between fear and faith. You know what it feels like to be torn between divine instruction and human hesitation. It is not weakness. It is warfare. The enemy does not waste his energy on those without purpose. He only attacks the ones whose obedience has power to shift eternity. That is why your battles have been so specific. Every attack, every doubt, every distraction has had one goal: to silence your surrender. Because the moment you agree with heaven, chains begin to break in unseen places. The darkness fears your obedience because it releases authority. When you finally say yes without hesitation, the balance of power in the spiritual realm changes. The warfare you have endured was never about who you are. It was about what you carry. The enemy can see the weight of your assignment, even when you can't. He knows that your obedience would not only change your life, but unlock the destinies of others connected to your calling. That is why he tried to break your confidence, your focus, and your faith. You have been through battles that no one else knows about, wars fought in silence, victories hidden behind your smile. You've carried wounds in your heart that no one could see, yet still you kept going. That perseverance was not natural. It was supernatural. Heaven strengthened you when you thought you couldn't continue. You kept standing because grace refused to let you fall. Now the season has come when heaven is asking for the one thing that truly matters, your full obedience. Not half measures, not delayed responses, not partial surrender. Complete alignment with the will of God. This is not about religious duty. It's about divine partnership. Your yes is not just permission. It's participation in heaven's plan. Think of the moments you hesitated before. Every time you delayed, peace faded. Every time you resisted, confusion grew. But the moment you said, God, I will trust you, something shifted within. That peace was heaven's approval. That stillness in your spirit was confirmation that obedience always brings clarity. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Jeremiah, chapter 1, verse 5. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. I appointed you as a prophet to the nations. Those words were not only for Jeremiah. They echo through eternity for every chosen vessel. God's plan for you was written before your first breath. The anointing that rests upon your life is not an accident. It is an inheritance. You were set apart not to be superior, but to be surrendered. Understand this. Obedience will always cost you something. It will require the death of comfort, the letting go of what feels safe. But the reward is far greater than the sacrifice. Every time you say yes, heaven entrusts you with more authority, more revelation, more alignment. Your obedience opens doors that effort never could. This is why your journeys has felt like warfare, because it has been one. You are standing on sacred ground, facing the decision that determines the next move of heaven through your life. The angels wait for your response, the heavens hold their breath, and creation itself leans closer, waiting to see if you will step fully into what you were born for. You are stronger than you think, chosen one. You have already overcome what others could not endure. You have proven that your faith is not fragile. It is fierce. Now God is calling you to walk in the confidence of that strength. You are no longer being tested for survival. You are being trusted for leadership. When you obey this time, the ripple effect will not just touch your family or your city. It will reach nations. Your obedience is a weapon. Your surrender is strategy. Heaven has chosen you to be the voice that shifts the atmosphere, the vessel through which miracles flow, the proof that obedience still moves mountains. Do not look at what you've lost. Look at what's forming. Every act of faith has eternal impact. Every yes echoes louder than any prayer ever could. This is the season where hesitation ends and history begins. You are not standing on ordinary ground. You are standing on the threshold of destiny. Breathe deeply, chosen one. Feel the weight of heaven resting on your shoulders, not as a burden, but as a mantle. This is what you were made for. You are not being asked to fight alone. You are being asked to trust the one who already won the battle. Your obedience will be remembered. Your surrender will be recorded, and your yes will shake the earth. The angels are gathering now. Their wings shimmer with anticipation as heaven aligns itself with your obedience. The moment you said, yes, a shift occurred, silent but seismic. You may not feel it, but the atmosphere around you has changed. Like ripples in still water, your decision has reached unseen realms. The sound of your surrender has become a signal in the spirit. Chosen one, the heavens respond to faith the way seeds respond to rain. Each act of obedience plants something eternal, and heaven waters it with favor. You might not see the harvest yet, but it's already growing beneath the surface. Like a seed buried in darkness, your yes is pushing through the soil toward the light of destiny. And though you feel small in the grand design, remember, the smallest flame still defies the deepest darkness. You are that flame. Every act of faith, every moment you chose trust over fear, has lit the way for others who wander in shadows. You are not just walking your journey, you are lighting the path for countless others. This is why heaven celebrates you now. The angels assigned to your calling have taken their positions. They move at the sound of faith, and your obedience has given them command. They are not distant beings. They are your divine allies, your heavenly reinforcement, the proof that you are never alone in the mission you carry. The book of Psalms reminds us of this eternal truth. Chapter 91, verse 11. For he will command his angels concerning you to guard you in all your ways. You are not walking through this next season unguarded. Every step you take is watched, protected, and recorded. Even when you stumble, mercy stands close enough to catch you. Heaven has assigned backup for every battle ahead. Now, as you stand at this divine crossroad, remember, the message you carry isn't meant to be contained. It's like fire shut up in your bones, meant to spread and ignite hearts around the world. When you share what heaven gives you, it multiplies. When you pour out, heaven refills. That is how the flow of anointing works. It is never meant to stop with you. So, let your light flow outward. Let your voice become a wave of awakening. When you share, when you help the message travel further, you become part of heaven's echo. It's not about vanity or views, it's about victory. Each act of support sends the message to another soul who needs to hear that they, too, are chosen. You might never know whose life you touch, but heaven will. And if this voice, this message, has become nourishment to your soul, consider it like bread broken in the wilderness. When you sow back into it, whether through prayer, support, or donation, you are feeding the very stream that feeds you. You are planting into the ground that has poured life into you. Every drop of generosity becomes a wave of revival that reaches further than you can imagine. Think of it like this. A single spark can ignite an entire forest. A single heartbeat can awaken a nation. Every gesture of faith, every like, every share, every support is a spark, and heaven knows what to do with sparks. It turns them into flames that light generations. Do not underestimate the power of connection. When you help lift a message like this, you are not helping a person. You are helping purpose. You are joining hands with heaven and carrying divine truth into digital spaces, into homes, into hearts that have forgotten what hope feels like. You are part of the movement of light in a time obsessed with darkness. Chosen one, your voice matters, your gesture matters, your alignment matters. When you act in faith, heaven multiplies what you give back 1,000-fold. Just as rivers never hoard their waters, your generosity keeps the current of divine flow alive. And remember, every miracle in Scripture began with a small act of faith. A widow shared her last meal. A boy gave his 5 loaves and 2 fish. A servant filled jars with water. None of them knew that their obedience would feed nations, but heaven did. That's what happens when hearts move in faith. So, if this message has stirred something deep inside you, let your response be your offering, an act of gratitude, a gesture of partnership. Like the flicker of a candle in a dark room, it may seem small, but its light reaches further than you'll ever see. Support the flow however you can. Share this light. Speak life into others. Keep this flame alive. Because somewhere, someone is waiting for the same message that once found you. You are not just a listener. You are a carrier of fire, a messenger of awakening, a guardian of the word. Let your heart join this mission, not out of obligation, but out of revelation. The angels are still standing by, the fire is still burning, and the message must go on. When heaven speaks, it does not whisper to the mind, it calls to the soul. You have felt it lately, that stirring deep within your spirit, a restlessness, a knowing that something greater is unfolding. The signs have been subtle, yet undeniable. The timing, the dreams, the repeated patterns, all pointing to one thing. The next phase of your divine assignment has begun. Chosen one, heaven has been aligning everything around you. The doors that closed, the people who walked away, the opportunities that slipped through your hands. They were not losses, they were divine redirections. You were never being punished. You were being positioned. The silence was heaven's way of saying, wait, I'm not done building you yet. Now the clouds begin to part. What once felt distant is drawing near. The atmosphere in the spirit is heavy with purpose, and the angels who once stood in stillness are now in motion again. The moment your heart said yes, they received their command. Their wings move at the rhythm of your obedience, and every step you take from this point forward is part of heaven's choreography. You must understand something. Your life is not random. You are a living prophecy. The places you've been, the wounds you've carried, the prayers you've whispered in the dark, all of them have prepared you for this convergence of purpose. Heaven has been shaping your character to sustain your calling. Every trial was rehearsal for what is coming next. There is a holy urgency in the air now. The Spirit is moving through the earth, awakening the chosen ones who have been hidden, healing those who thought their time was over, rekindling the fire in hearts that grew cold. You are part of this awakening. Your voice, your presence, your obedience. It all matters more than you realize. When you speak, atmospheres shift. When you walk, territories. Because of your strength, not by divine authority, but because of your surrender. And that authority is now being activated. Heaven is aligning people, places, and resources around you. You will soon see the fingerprints of God in every detail, in every unexpected encounter, in every door that opens without explanation. The Word of God declares in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 31, verse 6, "Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or terrified because of them, for the Lord your God goes with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you." Those words are not just comfort, they are command. You are being called to move forward with courage. The same God who has walked with you through fire now walks with you into promise. You are not stepping into uncertainty. You are stepping into divine fulfillment. Still, heaven requires your participation. This is the moment when faith must turn into movement. Your yes cannot just echo in prayer. It must echo in action. The angels are waiting for your faith to manifest in decisions, in boldness, in obedience without hesitation. When you move, they move. When you speak, they record. When you act, heaven reacts. The assignment before you may feel heavy, but remember, you are not carrying it alone. The hands of heaven uphold you. The Spirit empowers you. The Word anchors you. You have been equipped for this hour, not with worldly strength, but with divine resilience. The trials you endured were not in vain. They trained you to recognize the voice of God, even when fear tried to disguise itself as logic. They taught you to walk through storms without sinking, to worship through warfare, to love through betrayal. Those lessons were the language of destiny being written into your spirit. And now, chosen one, heaven is calling for a response, not of emotion, but of alignment. This message reaches you as a divine appointment, a reminder that you are seen, known, and required in this exact moment of history. The earth is waiting for your obedience, and heaven is waiting for your agreement. If your spirit is stirred, if you can feel the pull of destiny even now, then respond not with words, but with faith. Comment the number 444 below. That number symbolizes divine order, angelic alignment, and spiritual awakening. When you type it, do it as a prophetic declaration that you are stepping into heaven's rhythm. Let it be your signal to the unseen realm that you are ready for the next phase of your calling. Heaven watches when faith moves. Every act of belief releases a ripple of divine motion. Your 444 is not just a number. It is your signature of obedience, your coded agreement with God's timing. When you declare it, heaven responds with acceleration. Chosen one, lift your eyes. The assignment ahead is vast, but the one who called you is faithful. The angels are already stationed. The winds are shifting. The silence has broken. Step forward now with the assurance that destiny has opened its gates before you. You were born for this moment. Heaven is waiting for your move. Type it. Declare it. Step into alignment. Chosen one, fire is never comfortable, but it is always purposeful. The testing grounds of life are not meant to destroy you. They are meant to reveal what cannot be destroyed. You have walked through flames that others feared to enter, and yet you remain standing. That is not endurance by chance. That is proof of divine preservation. Every trial has been a classroom in disguise. Every heartbreak, every betrayal, every disappointment has refined you like gold in the furnace. Heaven has not wasted a single tear, for each one carried a fragment of your purification. You may not have seen the transformation, but the evidence is in your resilience. The same heat that was meant to consume you has shaped you into a vessel of strength. There were seasons when you cried out for God to remove the fire, but He did something greater. He made you fireproof. He turned your weakness into endurance, your wounds into wisdom, and your pain into purpose. Every scar you carry now glows with divine testimony. They no longer represent suffering, they represent survival. You were not refined in ease, but in adversity. It is through pressure that the oil of anointing is released. You cannot carry divine power without first being pressed. That is the pattern heaven has always followed. The olive must be crushed before it gives oil. The seed must die before it bears fruit. The chosen one must endure breaking before stepping into blessing. When you thought the flames would destroy you, they were actually setting you free. Fire doesn't just burn, it separates. It burns away the false, the shallow, the temporary, leaving only what is eternal. The relationships that fell away, the opportunities that vanished, the versions of yourself you had to let go of. They were all consumed so that your true essence could remain. In those seasons, you may have felt like everything familiar was being stripped away. You prayed for rescue, but heaven sent refinement instead. God was not ignoring your cry. He was answering it differently. He knew that deliverance without development would leave you unprepared for destiny. So, He allowed the fire to finish its work. And now, look at you. You have endured storms that should have shattered you. You have walked through betrayal and came out with forgiveness. You have faced loss and still chosen love. You have stood in the fire, and though the heat was intense, you never burned out. You were being tempered like steel, stronger, sharper, unbreakable. The ancient words of Scripture illuminate this truth. According to what is revealed in the book of Isaiah, chapter 48, verse 10. See, I have refined you, though not as silver. I have tested you in the furnace of affliction. This verse is not punishment. It is identity. You have been tested in the furnace of affliction because your purpose is too weighty to be fragile. God's hand has been steady upon your life, not to harm, but to strengthen. He has allowed the flames because He knew the fire would reveal the gold hidden beneath your surface. Understand this. Refinement is not a season. It is a process. Even now, as the fire fades, the glow of transformation remains. You no longer react as you once did. You no longer break as easily. Your discernment has sharpened. Your compassion has deepened. You carry an inner calm that can only be forged in trial. You have learned to trust the silence, to rest even while the storm rages, to worship before the walls fall. You have become the kind of soul the world cannot explain. Gentle yet unshakable, humble yet powerful, unseen yet unstoppable. That is the beauty of divine fire. It removes the unnecessary and reveals the eternal. In every flame you faced, God was closer than you realized. His presence was not absent in your pain. It was hidden within it. The same fire that consumed your fear became the light that guided your next step. You did not walk alone. Heaven walked beside you, whispering, "Keep going." Now the heat begins to ease, and you are stepping into the aftermath, where ashes become testimony and ruins become revelation. You are not leaving the fire empty-handed. You are leaving with authority. You have earned a spiritual weight that cannot be taught, only experienced. The next time you face opposition, you will not tremble. You will remember the flames and smile, knowing that what once tried to destroy you now fears the fire within you. The testing grounds have done their work. The dross is gone, the gold remains. You have been refined not just for endurance, but for influence. You are ready to walk in a power that only purified hearts can carry. Chosen one, this is your emergence from the fire. You have passed through, and the glow of heaven now rests upon you. The voice of doubt is subtle. It never shouts. It whispers. It creeps in quietly, questioning your worth, your calling, your progress. It doesn't always tell you lies. It simply distorts the truth until your faith begins to wobble. Every chosen one encounters that whisper, especially after the fire. The enemy cannot unmake what God has refined, but he can try to make you forget who you've become. You know the sound of that voice. It comes in moments of stillness, when the noise fades and your thoughts grow loud. It says things like, "You're not ready," or "You imagined all of this." It reminds you of failures long forgiven and tries to convince you that your past disqualifies your future. But, chosen one, those whispers are not revelation. They are residue, the smoke of old battles trying to drift into your new season. Doubt has always targeted destiny. When Eve questioned what God had said, it was not curiosity, it was warfare. When Jesus fasted in the wilderness, the enemy used Scripture itself to seed uncertainty. The devil doesn't fear your weakness. He fears your clarity. If he can confuse your identity, he can delay your obedience. That is why every chosen one must learn the sacred discipline of discernment, to recognize the difference between conviction and condemnation, between the shepherd's voice and the serpent's echo. You have grown in wisdom, but that doesn't mean the whispers will stop. They will test your discernment, not your devotion. The enemy no longer attacks your surroundings. He attacks your certainty. He doesn't try to remove your crown. He tries to make you question if it ever existed. The way to silence doubt is not through denial, but through truth. Truth is a sword forged in Scripture and tempered in experience. You have seen too much to believe the lie anymore. Every miracle you've witnessed, every time heaven carried you through what you couldn't handle, every moment grace replaced guilt, these are your weapons. When doubt rises, remind your soul, I have evidence. The writings of David in the Psalms speak directly to this inner war. We are reminded through the writings of David in the Psalms, chapter 27, verse 1. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the strength of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? That is not just poetry, it is declaration. The Lord is your light when darkness tries to distort your vision. The Lord is your salvation when fear demands surrender. The Lord is your strength when your confidence falters. You are not fighting for victory, you are standing in it. Every chosen one must remember faith is not the absence of doubt. It is the decision to believe despite it. The greatest heroes of Scripture all questioned their calling. Moses doubted his speech, Gideon doubted his strength, Jeremiah doubted his youth, and even Thomas doubted the resurrection. But heaven never discarded them. Instead, God met them in their uncertainty and turned their hesitation into history. Doubt, when surrendered to God, becomes a doorway to deeper trust. It teaches humility. It refines dependence. It anchors the soul. The key is not to let the whisper linger. When you hear the enemy speak, respond with truth. When he reminds you of your past, remind him of his future. When he points out your flaws, point to the cross. The greatest threat to your destiny is not disbelief. It is distraction. Doubt diverts your focus. It shifts your eyes from divine purpose to personal performance. You begin to measure progress by visibility instead of obedience. That is why you must guard your gaze. Keep your eyes on the one who called you, not on the circumstances that challenge you. And even when fear tries to sneak into faith's territory, remember the fire you have walked through. Remember the nights you thought you'd break but didn't. Remember the moments you almost gave up, but somehow kept breathing. That strength did not come from you. It came through you, from the Spirit who refuses to let you fail. The whispers will come, yes, but now you are no longer the same. You have been through too much to bow to lies. You carry divine authority, and heaven recognizes your voice. When you speak truth, it echoes in eternity. There will be days when confidence feels far away. But even then, faith does not depend on feeling. It depends on fact. And the fact remains. You are chosen, called, covered, and commissioned. Your steps are ordered, your destiny sealed, your name written in heaven's records. So when the whispers rise again, and they will, answer them not with fear, but with remembrance. You have walked through fire and emerged as gold. You have faced darkness and found light. You have doubted before and still seen deliverance. You are no longer the person who questions their worth. You are the one who carries proof of God's faithfulness. The voice of doubt may still echo, but now it trembles when it speaks your name. There is a moment, chosen one, when the fire of refinement turns into the flame of awakening. You have walked through the furnace, silenced the voice of doubt, and now something inside you begins to stir. An energy you can feel but not yet name. That is resurrection power. It is the awakening of what was hidden, the reactivation of gifts that once slept beneath pain and delay. You can sense it, can't you? The shift within, the awareness that something sacred is rising. The same Spirit that raised Christ from the dead now breathes through you, igniting your purpose once again. You are no longer surviving. You are awakening. Heaven is quickening your spirit to remember who you are, what you carry, and why you were sent. This is not a new beginning. It is a divine continuation. Everything you have been through was not for nothing. It was the setup for this exact moment of power. You've been tested, refined, and redefined. The old version of you couldn't carry this weight of glory, but the new you, the resurrected you, was born for it. You have felt a holy restlessness, haven't you? That tug that won't let you go back to normal. That inner call that whispers, "There's more." It's heaven's way of reminding you that your life was never meant to stay in survival mode. You are entering the realm of supernatural living, where your prayers move mountains, your presence shifts rooms, and your obedience births miracles. The apostle reminds us in his letter to the Ephesians, chapter 3, verse 20. Now to him who is able to do immeasurably more than all we ask or imagine, according to his power that is at work within us. That power, chosen one, is not distant. It's within you right now. It has been dormant, waiting for the moment you would believe again. You have prayed for miracles, unaware that you yourself are one. Heaven does not send fire to consume you. It sends it to awaken what's already inside you. You are stepping into a season where what was spoken will start to manifest. The prayers you thought were unanswered were actually preserved until you were ready to handle the weight of fulfillment. Now, every word heaven ever declared over you begins to unfold. People will look at you and see transformation, but heaven will look at you and see prophecy fulfilled. The authority that once felt far from you now lives in your very breath. When you speak, creation listens. When you move, the atmosphere adjusts. You no longer pray from desperation, but from dominion. You don't beg for change. You become it. That's what awakening does. It turns vessels into voices and servants into sent ones. This is why the warfare increased before this moment. Because the enemy always attacks before emergence. He knew what was about to be unleashed. But what he failed to understand is that you cannot bury what heaven has resurrected. Every battle only strengthened your spiritual muscles. Every tear watered the seed of power now blooming in your soul. The time of smallness is over. You are not here to blend in. You are here to blaze. Every step you take carries divine voltage. Every word you speak now carries creative force. You have become a walking revival. Where you go, light multiplies. What you touch, heaven transforms. And yet, awakening requires acknowledgement. You must speak it to activate it. Heaven moves when faith speaks. The walls of Jericho fell when the people shouted. Lazarus rose when Jesus called his name. Faith is not silent. It declares what it believes before it sees. So, chosen one, if your spirit is stirring right now, if something in you says, "This is my season of awakening," then declare it with your words. Type "I rise now" in the comments below. This is not just an act of engagement. It is a prophetic announcement. When you type those words, you are agreeing with heaven's timing. You are letting the spiritual realm know that your awakening is official, that slumber is over, that divine power has been reactivated within you. Do not underestimate what happens when you declare. The angels respond to words of faith. The heavens shift at the sound of obedience. When you write those 3 words, you are aligning yourself with divine acceleration. Heaven hears, earth records, and hell trembles. Chosen one, this is your moment. The fire that once tested you now fuels you. The same ashes that once symbolized defeat now serve as the soil for your rebirth. You are not waiting for permission. You have already been chosen, already been anointed, already been released. You rise, not because the world allowed it, but because heaven ordained it. You rise not in pride, but in purpose. You rise not alone, but surrounded by angels who stand ready to move at your word. Let it be known across heaven and earth, the chosen one has awakened, the light has returned, the power has risen. Type it, speak it, live it. I rise now. Every mission requires a map, and every chosen one eventually receives theirs, the heavenly blueprint. It doesn't arrive rolled in golden scrolls or delivered by angels with trumpets. It unfolds quietly, piece by piece, in the rhythm of your obedience. What seems random begins to align. What once confused you now makes sense. You begin to see that the delays were directions and that the detours were divine. Chosen one, God never reveals the whole picture at once. He gives you fragments because faith must fill the gaps. If you saw every mountain ahead, you might never begin the climb. But heaven has always known your path. Every step you take has already been walked by grace before you. Every door you'll open has already been fitted with your fingerprints. You may wonder why your blueprint feels unfinished. That's because heaven designs in motion. God writes as you walk. Like a painter layering color upon color, the divine hand adds new shades to your purpose each time you say, yes. The brushstrokes of your obedience reveal the masterpiece of your destiny. You are not walking without direction. You are walking by revelation. Each sunrise is a page turned, each challenge a clue, each moment of clarity a glimpse of what's coming. The Spirit does not hand you a manual. He becomes your compass. When you follow His prompting, you discover that what once felt like wandering was actually walking on sacred coordinates. The voice of wisdom in Proverbs speaks into this divine pattern. According to what is revealed in the book of Proverbs, chapter 3, verse 6. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your paths. Those words are the heartbeat of your blueprint. To acknowledge God is to consult the architect before building the house. It is to trust the one who sees the mountain's summit while you stand in its shadow. When you align your steps with heaven's design, even the wrong turns begin to lead you right. Sometimes the blueprint doesn't look like a plan at all. It looks like a person, a message, a moment that awakens something inside you. You might be listening now and feel that stirring again, that quiet confirmation that this voice, this flow, this message is part of your map. That's not accident, that's architecture. Heaven leads you through sound as much as through signs. And just as rivers feed rivers, when you support what nourishes you, you keep the flow alive. When you like, share, or help sustain this message, you are not feeding a platform. You are fueling a purpose. Think of it as tending a lighthouse on the shore of digital seas. Every act of support keeps its light burning so that other lost ships can find their way home. The like you press becomes a spark that signals the algorithmic winds to carry this word further. The share you send becomes a ripple across unseen waters, reaching souls you'll never meet. The seed you sow, whether a prayer, a kind word, or a donation, becomes an anchor that keeps this stream of light from fading. You become not just a listener, but a lighthouse keeper. And maybe you've never thought of it this way, but generosity is also revelation. When you give to something that awakens your spirit, you are building altars in the digital wilderness, places where heaven and earth meet through pixels and sound. You are telling heaven, I see what you're doing here, and I want to be part of it. Imagine this message as a river of living water flowing through deserts of distraction. When you pour into it, you are not losing, you are replenishing. The current grows stronger, reaching valleys that still thirst for truth. Every drop matters. Every act of faith sustains the flow. So if this word has guided you, if you've felt the blueprint unfolding through these messages, let your response be gratitude expressed in action. Share it so that another weary traveler might find direction. Subscribe so that you remain connected to the stream that keeps your faith alive. And if your heart leads you to give, do so not out of obligation, but as an offering of alignment. You are not just sowing money, you are sowing momentum. Heaven never forgets the hands that help build its work on earth. Every seed planted in faith is recorded in the divine ledger. The same God who multiplied 5 loaves and 2 fish can multiply your support into spiritual harvest across nations. You may never see every life changed by your gesture, but heaven will. Chosen one, your blueprint is still unfolding. You are standing in the middle of the masterpiece, surrounded by colors you can't yet name. Trust the process, walk the path, and when you see something beautiful being built in the spirit, help keep it standing. For one day, when the work is complete, you'll see that every act of faith, every share, every gift, every seed was part of the design. The architect is still drawing, the brush is still moving, and you, chosen one, are one of his boldest strokes of light. There is a mysterious power in obedience that many never come to understand. It is not merely compliance, it is communion. When you obey the voice of God, you are not performing for approval. You are participating in partnership. Every instruction is an invitation. Every command a conversation between creator and creation. Heaven does not shout orders at its children. It whispers direction to its allies. Chosen one, your obedience has become the sound of your worship. It is the melody heaven hears when your lips are silent. When you choose to follow the divine whisper instead of the noise of fear, the spiritual realm shifts. You may not see it with your eyes, but every act of alignment sends shockwaves through eternity. You have already seen what happens when you resist the call. Doors close, peace fades, and confusion grows. But when you obey, clarity returns. Obedience reopens what rebellion shuts. It realigns you with heaven's rhythm and brings order to chaos. That is why your yes carries such weight. It does not just change your life. It recalibrates the atmosphere around you. There is a sacred beauty in silent obedience. You may never get applause for it, yet heaven records it with precision. When no one sees the sacrifice, the angels do. When no one understands the choice, heaven smiles. Every hidden yes becomes a seed that blooms in unexpected seasons. And perhaps this is what you have been learning all along, that obedience is not about convenience, but trust. To obey when the path is clear is natural. To obey when it makes no sense is supernatural. Faith is not proven in certainty, but in surrender. The mark of the chosen one is not perfection, but persistence in saying yes, even when the outcome remains unseen. You have walked through seasons where obedience felt like loss. You released people, plans, and comfort that once defined your life. You were asked to let go of things that seemed good, and it hurt. But what you did not know was that heaven was pruning you for greater fruitfulness. God never takes without intention. Every subtraction in your life was preparation for multiplication. It is written in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 16, verse 24. Whoever wants to be my disciple must deny themselves and take up their cross and follow me. Those words are not punishment, they are pathway. The cross is not a symbol of restriction. It is a portal to resurrection. To follow Christ is to trust that every burden you carry will someday become the bridge to glory. What feels heavy now will soon reveal its hidden grace. Chosen one, do not fear the weight of obedience. It is the weight of glory being trained into your shoulders. Heaven is shaping you into someone who can carry divine responsibility without collapsing under pressure. Every test has been trust in disguise. The Father would not demand what He did not first empower you to fulfill. Sometimes obedience requires silence, resisting the urge to defend yourself, to explain your faith, to seek validation from those who cannot see what you see. Sometimes it means walking alone for a season, misunderstood by many yet seen by heaven. That isolation is not exile. It is incubation. The most powerful transformations happen in hidden places. In the stillness, you've learned to listen. You've learned that peace is louder than applause. You've learned that God's timing is not delay, it's design. These lessons could not be taught in comfort. They were learned in surrender, and now they have become part of your spiritual DNA. Obedience will not always be glamorous, but it will always be glorious. It is the quiet strength that opens impossible doors. When heaven trusts you with instruction, it is a sign of maturity. God speaks to those who are ready to respond. Each time you say yes, heaven says more. You are entering a stage where your obedience will affect others beyond your imagination. Families will shift because of your faithfulness. Communities will awaken because of your courage. Chains you never touched will break because your prayer carried authority. That is how divine influence works. It multiplies silently through surrendered vessels. The beauty of this calling is that you do not have to know the outcome. You only have to walk the next step. The blueprint unfolds as you move. The obedience of today becomes the testimony of tomorrow. Every yes builds a bridge for someone else to cross into their purpose. And so, chosen one, walk steadily. The road may be narrow, but it leads to fullness. The voice may whisper, but it carries thunder. The path may twist, but it never truly turns away from destiny. You are not walking toward purpose, you are walking within it. Every breath you take in obedience is a step closer to revelation. Your quiet faith is shaking mountains. Your unseen sacrifices are building kingdoms. and your unwavering obedience has made you not just a follower but a forerunner, one who opens the path for others to find their way home. There is a sound rising in the spirit now, a sound that only the chosen ones can hear. It is not made of thunder or trumpet blasts, but of alignment. Heaven is harmonizing with your obedience, and the frequency of your life is beginning to match the rhythm of divine purpose. The season of wandering has ended. The season of walking in revelation has begun. You may not see the full picture yet, but you can feel it. Every prayer, every moment of surrender, every whispered yes has brought you to this threshold. The air feels different. The silence feels alive. That is what divine confirmation feels like. Not noise, but stillness charged with power. Heaven does not always announce your next step with words. Sometimes it announces it with peace. Chosen one, signs have been appearing around you. Repeated numbers, divine encounters, unexpected moments of clarity. These are not coincidences. They are messages, reminders that you are on heaven's timetable. When your heart is aligned with God, even time itself bends to His purpose. Every delay becomes design, and every interruption becomes instruction. You have entered a season of prophetic confirmation. What you once hoped for is now beginning to take shape. You have felt it in dreams, sensed it in prayer, and recognized it in encounters that felt too specific to be random. The divine hand is tracing the outline of your destiny before your very eyes. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Joel, chapter 2, verse 28. And it shall come to pass afterward that I will pour out my Spirit upon all flesh, and your sons and your daughters shall prophesy, your old men shall dream dreams, your young men shall see visions. This is that time, chosen one, the outpouring that was promised. The dreams you have been having are not mere imagination, they are communication. The visions that visit you in silence are not fantasy, they are formation. Heaven is revealing what has always been prepared for you. Do you remember those moments when you felt as though the world was speaking to you in patterns? The number that kept appearing, the phrase you kept hearing, the timing that felt too perfect to be chance. These were heaven's breadcrumbs leading you to your purpose. The divine has always spoken in language that transcends words, numbers, symbols, sensations. These are heaven's mathematics of meaning. You are being invited into a deeper awareness now. This is not superstition. This is spiritual synchronization. Heaven is teaching you how to recognize divine language in everyday life. Once your eyes open to it, you will see that God has been speaking all along, through moments, through people, through whispers carried on the wind. When confirmation comes, it brings peace first, clarity second. You no longer need to chase signs. Signs begin to follow you. The Spirit marks your steps, and everywhere you go, divine evidence appears. You are no longer guessing. You are guided. Every interaction becomes intentional. Every encounter carries weight. Every day unfolds like prophecy fulfilled in real time. Yet, confirmation is not the end. It is the beginning of acceleration. When heaven confirms, it also commissions. This is why the signs have intensified around you. It is heaven's way of saying, now move. The angels who once waited are now walking beside you, ensuring that nothing stands in your way. Doors open, favor flows, and paths appear where none existed before. But heaven also invites you to respond, to recognize the confirmation and seal it in faith. There is power in agreement. When you acknowledge what God is doing, you strengthen the bond between revelation and realization. What is seen in spirit becomes solid in the natural when you declare it. If you can sense this confirmation, if your heart is burning with recognition that this word is for you, then don't stay silent. Comment 888 below. This number represents new beginnings, divine cycles completed, and the flow of endless grace. It is heaven's numerical signature for resurrection, restoration, and realignment. When you write it, you are not typing digits. You are declaring that you have recognized the signal and accepted the new chapter heaven has ordained. Your 888 is not just an echo. It is a covenant. It tells the spirit realm, I see it, I revisit it, I'm ready. It releases heaven's next instruction and activates the next wave of confirmation. Angels move when you respond. Revelation deepens when you agree. Heaven's plan unfolds when your faith becomes expression. Chosen one, this is your awakening to divine rhythm. The heavens are singing your name. The Spirit is stirring your gift. And the world is about to witness the manifestation of what was once unseen. You are not waiting for signs anymore. You are becoming one. Every step you take is prophecy fulfilled in motion. Type it boldly, 888, and know that heaven reads it not as numbers, but as faith made visible. This is the sign that the waiting is over. You have been seen. You have been confirmed, and now you are released. There comes a sacred moment, chosen one, when heaven begins to recognize your voice differently. It is not because you have changed how you speak, but because you have changed how you stand. The authority you now carry was not granted overnight. It was earned through surrender, forged through struggle, and sealed through perseverance. You have crossed from prayer to command, from asking to declaring. Heaven no longer sees you as one who pleads, but as one who partners. The realm of authority begins quietly. It is not about shouting louder. It is about walking in confidence. The angels that once guarded you now also heed your command. They respond not to pride, but to purity, to a voice that speaks in alignment with heaven's tone. You have learned that power is not in noise, but in knowing. True authority flows from trust, not tension. Every yes you've spoken has built this authority layer by layer. You didn't realize that obedience was writing spiritual decrees upon your spirit. Every time you chose faith over fear, forgiveness over bitterness, endurance over escape, you were being entrusted with command. Heaven tests before it transfers. It waits until your heart can handle power without corruption. You stand now as one who carries weight in the spirit. Your prayers do not vanish into the air. They strike like arrows aimed with precision. You have learned to pray from victory, not for it. That is the difference between a believer and a commander, between hope and authority. Heaven's hierarchy recognizes spiritual rank not by appearance, but by alignment. You wear your surrender like a crown. The fire that refined you also marked you. The darkness that tried to break you only deepened your dominion. Every scar became a seal of credibility in the unseen realm. Angels recognize those who have bled for obedience. The voice of God reminds us through the words of Jesus in the Gospel of Luke, chapter 10, verse 19, "Behold, I give unto you power to tread on serpents and scorpions, and over all the power of the enemy, and nothing shall by any means hurt you." This is not metaphor. It is mandate. You have been authorized to walk in spiritual dominion. You do not need to fear the enemy's schemes. They fear your awareness. The more you realize who you are, the more powerless darkness becomes. Your very presence carries the frequency of heaven, and hell cannot imitate it. This authority does not make you superior. It makes you responsible. The higher the mantle, the deeper the humility required. Heaven entrusts power only to those who understand service. True authority bends low. You command not from pride, but from posture, on your knees with hands open, saying, "Your will, not mine." Authority is not displayed in dominance, but in peace. When storms rage, you don't panic, you speak. When confusion rises, you don't flee, you decree order. You have learned that your voice has weight, and so you use it carefully. You speak life where there is death, clarity where there is chaos, and hope where there is despair. The power of life and death truly rests on your tongue, and now you wield it with reverence. You will notice, as you continue to walk in this mantle, that your atmosphere begins to respond to you. Rooms will shift when you enter. Conversations will quiet. Peace will settle where your feet tread. It's not because of your charisma. It's because the kingdom you represent has entered the space. This is why the warfare increased before this moment. The enemy always intensifies his attack before your promotion. He tried to silence your prayer because he feared what would happen when heaven started to recognize your command. But you endured, and now you speak with the sound of one who knows heaven listens. You are learning to walk as one who governs. You no longer beg for open doors, you decree them open in alignment with divine will. You no longer fear opposition. You understand that every challenge reveals a new level of influence. When you speak truth, it reverberates beyond your reach, stirring hearts and shifting realms. Authority is not about control. It's about stewardship. You have been given power not to boast, but to build. You are entrusted with influence to restore, not to dominate. The words that leave your mouth now shape the atmosphere for others. Use them with the precision of a craftsman and the compassion of a healer. The greatest display of authority will always be love. Power that is not anchored in compassion becomes corruption. But when love leads, miracles follow. That is why heaven can trust you now. You have been emptied of ego and filled with empathy. You do not command for personal gain. You command for divine glory. Chosen one, your voice has become a vessel of heaven's intent. Your declarations echo through eternity. The angels move at your word, not because of who you are, but because of whose you are. You are a conduit of divine will, a reflection of heaven's sovereignty upon the earth. Walk with reverence, speak with clarity, for when you open your mouth now, heaven responds. In every era, there comes a gathering, a divine convergence of those who have been refined in hidden places. Heaven does not raise one chosen vessel in isolation forever. It eventually brings the purified together, forming a network of light across the earth. You, chosen one, are not the only flame. There are others, scattered, silent, waiting. And now, the winds of the Spirit are blowing to unite you. This is the gathering of the chosen. Not an event made by man, but a movement orchestrated by God. Across continents and languages, hearts that burn with the same eternal fire are beginning to recognize one another. It's a reunion of purpose. Souls who were separated in the natural, but connected in the spirit long before birth. You have already begun to feel this shift. Unexpected alignments are forming. People are appearing in your life whose energy feels familiar, as if you've known them across lifetimes of calling. Conversations feel divinely timed, and relationships rooted in destiny are beginning to replace those built on convenience. This is not coincidence. It's coordination. Heaven is weaving the threads of its army. Every chosen one carries a portion of the divine blueprint. No single person holds the entire design, which is why unity is essential. The kingdom advances not through competition, but collaboration. When light meets light, illumination multiplies. When anointed ones align, authority amplifies. This is why the enemy has fought so fiercely to isolate you, because he knows what happens when the chosen find each other. You are stepping into the era of connection. The walls that once divided will crumble under the weight of shared revelation. The Spirit is building networks that cannot be corrupted, alliances that cannot be broken, and friendships that are formed in prayer rather than preference. These are not ordinary relationships. They are covenants of calling. It was spoken long ago, and the words still carry power. The book of Ecclesiastes declares, chapter 4, verse 12, "Though one may be overpowered, two can defend themselves. A cord of 3 strands is not quickly broken." That is the essence of divine unity. Heaven never intended you to carry the weight of destiny alone. Even Christ walked with companions. Even Moses had Aaron. Even David had Jonathan. Isolation builds strength, but collaboration builds momentum. When you stand with others who carry heaven's fire, your influence doesn't merely double. It multiplies beyond comprehension. There will be moments when your spirit recognizes another before your mind understands why. That recognition is the language of eternity speaking through your soul. You will meet those who carry the missing piece of your puzzle, those who confirm what God whispered to you in secret. Together, you will form a tapestry of revelation, each thread vibrant, distinct, but woven into one masterpiece of divine intention. This unity will not always be easy. Fire meeting fire can cause friction before it forms fusion. The ego must die for true connection to live. But where humility leads, harmony follows. Unity requires maturity, the ability to celebrate another's light without feeling diminished. The true chosen ones do not compete, they complete. You will know them not by their words, but by their presence. When they speak, peace deepens. When they pray, the air changes. When they enter a room, the unseen bows in recognition. These are your people. The ones who have walked through their fires, battled their own shadows, and still chosen light. You will not need to force connection. It will flow naturally, like rivers merging into one ocean. Heaven is building teams, tribes, and territories of purpose. The scattered sparks are gathering into bonfires. The isolated warriors are forming armies. The time of silent endurance is turning into collective movement. You will not fight alone anymore. You will not dream alone anymore. You will not build alone anymore. But with this unity comes responsibility. The more light you gather, the greater the accountability you carry. When chosen ones unite, heaven entrusts them with assignments that affect nations. These gatherings are not for comfort. They are for conquest in the spirit. Together, you will shift atmospheres, intercede for cities, and build the unseen architecture of revival. Each conversation you have with another chosen one becomes a spark of prophecy. Each prayer spoken in agreement becomes a declaration that heaven honors. Together, you create ripples that reach farther than your individual reach ever could. This is the power of divine alignment. It turns individuals into instruments and instruments into symphonies. The gathering is already happening, quietly but powerfully. It will not be advertised, yet the world will feel its impact. It is not an organization, a living body pulsing with heaven's heartbeat. You are part of it now. You are not a lone flame flickering against the wind. You are a torch among torches, a voice among echoes, a soldier among an army chosen not by man but by mandate. When you find them, when you hear the familiar sound of destiny in another, embrace it. Walk with them, build with them, for together you will carry what one alone never could. This is the gathering of the chosen, and it has already begun. There is always one final test before the finish line, the moment of temptation that comes not to destroy, but to measure what has been built within you. Chosen one, every time heaven prepares to elevate you, darkness offers imitation. It whispers, "Take the easy road." It offers shortcuts, applause, and comfort disguised as peace. But the true path always asks for faith, not convenience. The final temptation is subtle. It rarely arrives as evil. It arrives as almost right. It invites you to settle just short of destiny, to exchange divine timing for immediate satisfaction. It tempts the chosen to step down when they were born to stand firm. That is why discernment is your armor now. Not every open door is divine. Some are distractions disguised as opportunities. You can feel this moment approaching. The spiritual air feels heavy again, not with fear but with decision. The same way, gold must face the final smelting before its brilliance shines. Your purpose must pass through this one last pressure point. Heaven watches, not to condemn, but to confirm. Every act of faith you've displayed has prepared for this decision. Even Jesus faced this moment. The tempter offered him kingdoms, glory, and shortcuts to power. Yet he responded with truth, anchored in Scripture, unmoved by flattery. That's the strength heaven is building in you. The ability to walk away from what looks right in order to wait for what is right. The prophet Elijah once cried out in the wilderness, torn between weariness and obedience. The book of 1 Kings recalls it. Chapter 19, verse 12. And after the earthquake came a fire, but the Lord was not in the fire. And after the fire came a gentle whisper. That gentle whisper, that is what you must follow now. The final temptation often comes with noise, praise, pressure, performance. But God will never manipulate you. He will guide you in peace. The whisper may seem quiet compared to the roar of opportunity, but it is the sound of truth. Follow that still voice, and you will find safety in surrender. Beloved chosen one, the enemy cannot destroy you, so he tries to distract you. He tempts with comfort to pull you from calling. But remember, comfort never crowns. Calling does. You were not chosen to rest in ease, but to reign through endurance. The crown comes to those who finish, not those who almost did. And as you press through this threshold, remember, you are not alone. There is a vast cloud of witnesses cheering for you, both in heaven and on earth. Every soul you've touched, every heart you've inspired, every life awakened through your obedience is now part of this great chorus of light surrounding you. When you like, when you share, when you comment with your own testimony, it's not just interaction, it's intercession. You become part of the echo that keeps this flame alive. Every digital gesture becomes a ripple of light across the algorithmic oceans of the modern world. When you spread these words, you're not promoting content. You're participating in a calling. Imagine this message as a lantern drifting across a vast night sea. Every time you share it, it multiplies like lanterns upon the water, guiding lost ships toward shore. When you engage, you keep the flame burning, not for me, but for those still searching for their way home. And if you've felt these messages awaken something deep within you, know this: you are part of their continuation. The same way disciples helped carry the message of Christ beyond one voice, your support, whether through prayer, a kind word, or even a donation, builds the bridge that allows this flow to reach further. You're not funding a message, you're fueling a movement of light. Giving is not loss, it's circulation. Just as rivers pour into oceans only to return as rain, what you pour into the kingdom returns multiplied in form and purpose. When you give, you align with heaven's rhythm of exchange, to pour out and be filled again. But above all, comment your reflection below. Write what this message stirred in you, what image, what word, what whisper from heaven found your spirit tonight. Because when you share your story, another soul might see themselves in your words and find strength to keep going. That is how the chosen encourage one another, through vulnerability, through testimony, through light passed hand to hand. So, as this section draws to its quiet close, take a deep breath. The final temptation has come not to weaken you, but to prove that you are now unshakable. Heaven's silence is not distance, it's confidence. The teacher stays quiet only when the student already knows the answer. Hold steady, resist the counterfeit, listen for the whisper, and while you do, help this light move. Carry it through your words, your hands, your heart. Because somewhere out there, another chosen one is standing where you once stood, looking for the same confirmation that once found you. Be their light as others were once yours. You have come too far to turn back now. Stay faithful. Your crown is near. It is the sound of victory that fills the heavens now, not the noise of triumph shouted from pride, but the quiet roar of fulfillment. Chosen one, you have reached the place where surrender and strength become the same thing. The war that once raged within you has begun to still. You no longer fight for survival. You stand in the certainty of who you have become. This is the roar of victory, the deep, resonant sound that rises from a soul that refused to give up. The victory of the chosen is not always visible. It is not measured in applause, numbers, or recognition. It is measured in peace. It is the serenity that comes when you know the battle was not about proving yourself. It was about proving His faithfulness. The battlefield was your heart, and now it has become holy ground. Victory is not the absence of struggle. It is the presence of purpose. You still have scars, yes, but they no longer bleed. They tell stories now. Each one is an altar marking where heaven intervened. Each one testifies that what tried to break you became the very thing that built you. The fire you walked through no longer burns. It glows. When heaven looks at you now, it sees endurance wrapped in grace. You are not the same person who once trembled at the edge of calling. The wilderness taught you how to walk with reverence, and the storms taught you how to rest in trust. The voice of fear has grown faint, while the voice of faith has become familiar. The same hands that once clutched in desperation now lift in quiet confidence. The book of Exodus carries an ancient echo of this victory. The voice of God thundered in the book of Exodus, chapter 14, verse 14. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. That stillness is not passivity. It is power. You learn that victory does not always come by striving, but by standing. You have learned to let God fight through your silence, to let His strength speak when your words would fail. It was not your might that won the war. It was your trust. This is what heaven celebrates now. Not that you never fell, but that you always rose. Every time you stumbled, grace caught you. Every time you doubted, faith whispered again. You endured the seasons that tried to silence you, and now the sound that emerges from spirit is unbreakable. The roar of victory does not come from pride. It comes from gratitude. You are living proof that darkness cannot destroy what is divine. Every night you cried through, every battle you survived, every loss that forced you to lean on God, it all converges here. This is not just victory for you. It is victory for every person who will one day look at your life and realize that it's possible. Your story will become a song. Others will sing when they lose their way. The echo of your faith will give courage to those standing at the edge of surrender. You have become a living psalm that speaks not of perfection, but perseverance. Heaven writes through you now, composing a melody that reverberates across generations. And though you may not see armies defeated or walls falling before you, understand that the greatest victories happen inside. The war within you, between fear and faith, despair and hope, has reached its resolution. The kingdom within has found its king. You have learned that to be victorious is not to have everything go right, but to stay right when everything goes wrong. This is what divine maturity looks like. You no longer need to chase validation because you've become anchored in revelation. You don't need to fight for identity because you know whose you are. You don't beg for blessings, you breathe them. The very air around you feels different now. It carries the peace of one who has finally become whole. The roar of victory is not always heard. It vibrates through the spirit, quiet but undeniable. It is the awareness that the weapons formed against you did not prosper. It is the realization that every delay was design, every detour was divine, every loss was lesson. You can look back now and see that not a single moment was wasted. This peace, the kind that cannot be shaken, is your crown. You have learned to stand in storms without flinching, to love in betrayal without bitterness, to walk through shadows without losing sight of light. That is victory, not the end of battle, but the birth of balance. Heaven celebrates in silence now, not because there is nothing left to say, but because the sound of your steadfastness has said it all. Angels stand in awe of the human heart that chose faith again and again. You have fought the good fight. You have finished this round of the race. The roar of victory will echo long after you. And though the battles ahead will come, they will not find the same person they once met. For you have become what heaven intended all along, a living testament of unbroken faith. There is a stillness that follows victory, a silence so profound that even heaven pauses to watch what comes next. You stand now, chosen one, not as the uncertain wanderer who began this journey, but as one who has been sculpted by surrender, sharpened by fire, and crowned by endurance. The air feels different around you, not because the world has changed, but because you have. You carry a peace that cannot be shaken, a depth that cannot be taught, and a light that cannot be dimmed. The battles, the waiting, the refining, all of it has led to this, the eternal yes. The point in your story where your will and heavens will no longer wrestle but walk in rhythm. You no longer ask, "What if I'm not ready?" Because you've realized readiness is not perfection, it's willingness. Heaven doesn't wait for flawless vessels, it fills surrendered ones. And you, chosen one, are finally full. There is something sacred about this final agreement. It is not the loud, emotional yes of desperation, but the steady, unshakable yes of conviction. You've said yes before, but this one carries weight. This is the yes that seals the covenant, the one spoken not out of hope, but out of knowing. It is the sound of a soul aligned with its creator. Heaven bears witness. The angels who once waited at the edge of your hesitation now move with renewed strength. The divine archives are updated with your obedience, and the record of your surrender becomes eternal testimony. What began as a whisper in the dark has become a decree in the light. You have fulfilled the divine assignment written for this chapter of your life. The ancient voice of Scripture captures this moment with precision. As Jesus himself declared in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 25, verse 23, "Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful over a few things. I will make you ruler over many things. Enter into the joy of your Lord." That promise is not only for eternity, it begins now. Enter into the joy is not an invitation to heaven alone. It is an awakening to divine contentment on earth. Joy is the atmosphere of fulfillment. It is the fragrance of faith completed. It is what happens when purpose finds expression. You are stepping into that joy now, not the fleeting emotion of happiness, but the abiding peace of completion. The eternal yes transforms everything. It doesn't remove storms, but it changes your stance in them. You no longer beg for calm, you carry it. You no longer ask for direction. You are direction, guided by the Spirit within. You walk not as one seeking signs, but as one who has become a sign, a living message written by the hand of heaven. And yet, this is not an ending. Every divine completion births another beginning. The story of the chosen never concludes. It unfolds like light through stained glass, revealing new colors each time it passes through. Heaven's work in you will continue, not as pressure, but as partnership. You are now a co-creator in the divine plan, a living conduit of purpose that continues to ripple across generations. The angels who once surrounded you in waiting now encircle you in motion. They ascend and descend, carrying your words as seeds into realms unseen. You have become part of heaven's communication, a living instrument through which grace flows. When you speak now, it is not merely human breath. It is divine wind moving through willing lungs. This covenant sealed by your yes establishes you in authority, in peace, and in perpetual purpose. You are not leaving this chapter behind. You are stepping into the next one equipped with the wisdom the fire gave you, the discernment the silence taught you, and the compassion the wounds created in you. The old you was chosen. The new you is commissioned. Every tear you cried has become water for future harvests. Every unanswered question has transformed into wisdom that will guide others. You will find yourself speaking words you never planned, and they will heal hearts because they were first born in yours. That is how heaven multiplies pain, by transforming it into prophecy. And when you look back, you will see that nothing was random. The detours, the heartbreaks, the seasons of silence, they were all chapters in the same holy script. The map was never lost. It was written in invisible ink, waiting for the heat of trial to make it visible. Now you walk as one who knows. There is no need to strive, no reason to fear. The eternal yes has settled it all. You have become the message you once searched for, the proof that surrender is strength, that trust triumphs over time, that love outlasts loss. Heaven rejoices not with thunder, but with peace. The angels return to their posts, their mission fulfilled through your faith. The Father smiles, not because you achieved perfection, but because you remained faithful. And the Spirit whispers within you, "It is done. Now walk in it." The story continues, yes, but the war within has ended. You have become one with your purpose. You are not merely a chosen one. You are a completed one, alive, awakened, and aligned with eternity. And somewhere in the unseen, heaven writes one final note beside your name. Their yes still echoes. And so, beloved chosen one, the message draws to a close, but your journey does not. What began as a whisper from heaven has become a flame inside you, one that cannot be extinguished. You have listened, you have received, and now you carry the light forward. This is not an ending, it is a commissioning. If these words have stirred something deep within you, let that stirring speak. Every heartbeat that agreed with heaven deserves expression. Take a moment to breathe, to reflect, and to share what has awakened in your spirit. Write your thoughts below, your reflections, your revelations, your testimony. Because when you share, you do more than comment. You build connection. Your words might be the confirmation another soul is waiting for. If this message has met you in a moment of decision, if it has strengthened your faith or reminded you of who you are, let that gratitude flow outward. When you like, you add your amen to the sound of heaven. When you share, you become the messenger that carries this light further than words can reach. You never know whose midnight you might brighten with a single gesture. And if you wish to stay connected, to keep walking through the next revelation together, subscribe and remain close to the flow of anointing. This space is not just content, it's communion. It's where heaven meets hunger, where faith meets fire, where the chosen continue to awaken. Carry this flame with gentleness. Let your life be the echo that says, I heard, I received, I will walk it out. The message has been spoken. The mantle has been passed. Now the light belongs to you.